Hi, how's it going? Today, I'm gonna be deconstructing this article right here because giving literally the season finale of Invincible a 4 made everybody so mad, including me. This is probably the worst score that he could probably give, and I think IGN only did this because there's two reasons why he probably gave this. One, he didn't watch the video at all, just did AI generation because he had to do a lot of other things and watch a lot of other things or play a lot of things, so he probably used AI. Or two, rage bait, because that's the only reason why people hate IGN, because the reviews suck wieners. So I'm gonna be reading this article, like seeing like what's up. Why is this a 4? How could you possibly give that a 4? Because literally that episode was almost a 10 for me. I don't give out 10s like la-di-da. Like I give 10s very, very rarely. I can probably count on one hand the amount of times I gave anything a 10. And this right here was very close to it. So let's read it. Let's see what happens. Alright, an emotionally loaded season ended on Invincible's first outright bad episode. You know what else is bad? The way that you review things. Get a better reviewer. After What Have I Done ended on a high promising action hand to hand with vital advancements for the characters, the season 3 finale, I Thought You'd Never Shut Up, drops the ball. Narratively scattered and thematically incoherent, its first bad episode Invincible has ever had. One that draws on familiar sights and stories from the show and other superhero media, but presents them with little to nothing benefits beneath the surface. So obviously this guy who reviewed it literally hasn't seen any of the other previous seasons. He just went in here, just first time forever, oh, we're just gonna watch this. Because everything that he has said in here could literally be answered if you just watch the previous episodes of the seasons. Narratively scattered and thematically incoherent. Watch the previous episode. Its first bad episode it has ever had. One that draws on familiar sights and stories from... Okay, that sounds AI generated shit. Excuse my language. The arrival of the elderly one-armed Virtual Royal Conquest at a time when Mark is caught once again between killing or not. This is so AI generated. Sets the stage for a moral dilemma that never arrives, but whose conclusion is presented as though it were agonized over the 40 minutes. Instead, we're treated to a finale centered entirely around Conquest, who better suited to playing a transitional bad guy rather than the final boss of such an emotionally loaded season. Not only have we never seen Conquest prior to last week's closing moments, we've also devoid of any real ideology, claiming to love only death and destruction, making him a useful foil to Monk. But an exclamation point on Season 3, he's a giant shoulder shrug with little connection to anything meaningful within Invincible. He was mentioned back in Season 2. Alright, let's just deconstruct this piece by piece. Arrival early, one of Virtual Conquest, at a time when Monk is caught once again between killing or not, sets the stage for moral dilemma. Okay, moral dilemma, interesting. But whose conclusion presented as though it were agonized for 40 minutes. Because he's a powerful man! That's what he is. He's a powerful guy. This guy literally beat a lot of people. Like, I don't think Invincible would have killed him without the help of Eve and Oliver. Sort of. What? Instead, we're treated to a finale centered entirely around Conquest. Yeah, because he's the final boss of this, who is better suited by playing a transitional bad guy. He was interesting to me. When he was the way he was talking to Mark was interesting to me. It was cool. I liked it. Like the way he said, like he just kept talking, like he's a very like cocky guy. He was like he reminds me of the no goggle Invincible variant back in like season 7. But instead he raised the stats on it, and that's what Conquest is. I like when he whistles to his ears like I'm so lonely, like actually like venting to him. I thought that was cool, and like blowing that little blood hot bubble when they're in space. I like that a lot. Transitional bad guy rather than a final boss. He's not your transitional bad guy. Transitional, whatever the frick that even means. Not only have we never seen Conquer prior to last week's closing moments because he was busy on another planet, he's also lonely. He also devoid of any real ideology. To be completely honest, my small brain doesn't really understand what that means. Claiming to love only death and destruction, making him a useful foil. Because that's what he is. He's a killer. He that is who Conquest is. Like that's his entire personality. Okay. Conquest antics force Mark to put civilians in danger once again, an environment our hero doesn't even acknowledge despite its being such a potent part of his recent arc. I thought you never shut up. Ignores any leftover angst from the Powerplex saga, because he's in prison, despite reenacting the supervillain origin story. A Viltrumite big bad using Mark as a battering ram to slaughter innocent bystanders, but Conquest ending Season 3 the way Nolan ended Season 1 lacks weight. Rather than Mark feeling each death, the people are merely collateral damage, and the guy forcing Mark to kill them isn't somehow someone he knows. It's Invincible doing an encore of one of its greatest hits, but in completely uninteresting fashion, making it damn near impossible to invest in the climax of this uneven season. First of all, the climax was amazing. I was literally jumping up and down my seat like a freaking 5-year-old child. Conquest antics force Mark to put in civilians danger, a development our hero doesn't even acknowledge. Sorry, I have a small brain, so it takes me kind of a while to comprehend this. The development our hero doesn't even acknowledge, despite it being such a important part of this recent arc. Okay, ignores any leftover angst from the Powerplex, because he wasn't really that interesting. He wasn't really Powerplex wasn't really like I feel like he was just like a cut-off character. Like, yeah, Powerplex was a really good character. I like how Aaron Paul played that guy perfectly. But he was in prison. I mean, there he is. I mean, I don't think he's that bad anymore. He was there. I mean, he was in the last episode, but yeah, Powerplex, like, wasn't that big of a deal? Despite reenacting the Viltrumite big bad using Mark as a battering ram to slaughter innocent bystanders. Yeah. Rather than Mark feeling each death, the people are merely collateral damage, and the guy forcing Mark to kill them. Who's the guy? Who's the guy? Who's the guy? Am I slow? Rather than Mark feeling each death, the people are merely collateral damage, and the guy forcing Mark to kill them isn't. I guess that's Conquest. It's Invincible doing an encore. Are they trying to make a joke here? It's Invincible doing an encore of one of its greatest hits, but in complete uninteresting. That was so cool. This guy literally shoot him across the water and just did this, and I mean, it wasn't like as good as what Nolan did, but it was kind of like a reference because again, Season 3 and Season 2 made a lot of references comparing Mark and Omni-Man, right? So obviously, doing that wasn't the big part of that boss. It was more of like a little cameo Easter egg, and it was cool. I mean, he was going him to space, and then freaking shooting him down, and then grabbing him by the freaking throat and pulling him across the water into like a beach, some sort of, right? And it was cool. I mean, it was cool. It wasn't uninteresting. Again, I mean, if you like seeing two superheroes fighting, pushing into people, then watch the final episode of Season 1, but it wasn't uninteresting at all. I like when Conquest did that. I didn't like what he was killing, innocent civilians, but it was cool. It wasn't uninteresting at all, making it damn near impossible to invest. It was literally that point right there when he did that, like when he pushed it to the people, I'm like, oh wow, this guy is literally like Nolan, except he is way more stronger, and then after that it was just freaking jumping up and down. Like, it was cool. Oliver veers in and out of the final battle, and Eve arrives at the moment she wakes up from her coma. That they are both at risk of being killed at least lends some stakes to the fight, but when Eve is gravely injured, I think she died. It's hard to get, okay, here look, yeah, jaw-broken insights. It's hard to get on board with the idea that she might actually die. Yes, the GDA possesses neo-magical technology capable of healing any injury after all. But even before we're faced with this reality, the air is let out of the episode when Eve heals herself thanks to a power rooted in actual magic, pretty much out of the blue. Watch the Adam Eve special, sir. Watch it. You'll understand why she did that. What? Oh my god, these people. Watch just it's like these people they so lazy. They literally just put the episode into like an AI generation and say make a review on it. That's what happens. Like they don't know any prior knowledge to this. They don't watch any of the other previous episodes. Like it's very clear here. We see that exact same thing happening to her in the Adam Eve special. I can actually note it down, like the timestamp. It's around the 32-minute mark of that special. Maybe the 40-minute mark of that special. Like near the end of that special is where she literally does it. Like literally, when she's in the lab, and then obviously her like laboratory. I forgot his name. And then the two guys, right? When her mom died in the little thing, in the little vest, like she died in Eve's arms, right? And then she got so mad, she did that exact same thing. She did like freaking the Avatar state crap, and then she hovered in the air and freaking erased her mind. Like this happened before. Obviously, I think when she is really like out of it, the blockers in her body just completely eviscerate, and then her body just tries everything it can to basically heal her, and that's what happens here. Again, yes, it was out of the blue, but there was a reason that it happened out of the blue. Mark railing away on conquest is therefore a purely physical act with no emotion behind it. There was little emotion behind it. The virtual mind is a complete stranger. In giving him a lengthy monologues this late into the season, and so soon after his arrival, feels entirely pointless, as though Invincible was straining to grant him some semblance of heft or relevance. Again, his arrival was mentioned back in season 2 when Anissa came down and had a fight with him. The results are dull, and they ensure that the edges of the episode's violence are all stranded down, while the question of Sinclair's work for the GDA, which it now extends to Invincible Cyborgs, looms. It exists only as a hint for later seasons rather than something that matters in the moment. Similarly, when the finale wraps up, it points towards vague, oncoming developments for numerous side characters like Battle Beast and the demon detective Damien Dogblood, who is pretty hype, though there's still no signs of already important absence for several weeks. Nolan. I can kind of agree with that, actually. It was kind of sad that I didn't see anything about Nolan, but obviously there's a reason why he wasn't there. When I thought You'll Never Shut Up is near its end, we finally learned that Rex actually did, in fact, die. If you have eyeballs, that is a correct statement. It's hard to tell who's dead for real, given the sudden recourse of late, but before anyone, let alone his girlfriend Ray, really has time to grieve, the focus shifts back to Mark and Eve's relationship. Mark claims to have been deeply affected when he believes Eve was dead, but since this lasted for only a handful of minutes, and because this is last time we see Invincible until season 4, we're left to wonder what impacts it will actually have on him in the dynamic. Things wrap up nearly for Debbie, who's happy to have her kids back, and the finale features a few ominous hints of how far Cecil's willing to go. But for the most part, I Thought You Never Shut Up leaves Invincible in stasis, with little resolution and only minor developments towards what comes next. Interesting. Very interesting statement. Okay, let's deconstruct this. Let me take my little freaking reading brain, because I don't have a good comprehension of reading, which is not good. But I'll read it like sentence by sentence. Okay, so obviously Damien Darkblood and Nolan, I kind of agree with the Nolan thing. Again, it was kind of sad that he wasn't there, but there was a reason why, if you've seen the other episodes. When I Thought You Never Shut Up is near its end, we finally learned that Rex actually did in fact die. It's hard to tell who's dead for real. He exploded. Literally exploded. His skeleton exploded. Of course he died. Given the sun, I mean, he did come back to life, but to be completely honest, it's been so long since I've seen that, well, I don't even know how he came back to life. But before anyone, let alone has really time to grieve, the focus shifts back to Mark and Eve's relationship. It does. Mark claims to have been deeply affected when he believed Eve was dead, but also, that was a pretty long, grief. They did speeches, and it wasn't that long. I mean, obviously, it was, they have to do it somehow, right? This is a comic book adaptation. Mark claims to have been deeply affected, and because this is the last we'll see of the Invincible until season 4, we're left to wonder what impact it will actually have on him. Things wrap up neatly, blah 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 blah. Cecil, but for the most part, leaves Invincible in stasis with little resolution, because again, there was a season 4 coming, and only nominal minor developments told us what comes next. Alright, the verdict. Invincible repeats past triumphs, but with far less heft in its Season 3 finale. I Thought You Never Shut Up gives to the show the most self-destructive instincts. It pivots entirely around a bad guy who we've never seen before. Definitely wasn't mentioned in the past season. Definitely, if you didn't watch this entire freaking Season 1 and Season 3, he definitely wasn't mentioned again. Like, we definitely didn't know that he was going to come. When Anissa said, oh, by the way, if you don't do your job, the big guy's going to come and get you. We never heard that. I don't know what he's talking about. Again, this is a correct statement. Never has been mentioned at all. Conquest has never been mentioned. It pivots entirely around a bad guy we've never seen before and has its hero central season-long arc payoff in words, rather than actions or agonizing decisions. It's the first time Invincible has been truly subpar, and especially sour note to end on. Well, this article would especially end IGN's freaking journalism thing, right? It's gonna be a sour end to its freaking capacity. IGN doesn't know what they're doing, right? They don't know how to wait. They don't really connect dots. They just watch the episode and say, you know what? We're just gonna see what happens in this episode and we're gonna make an episode. But like, no, you have to watch other episodes in order to understand it. Literally, it's sad. It honestly is sad. It's kind of disgusting. Obviously, there were some things in here that I do agree on, but most of it, complete poopy water. Like, it's just complete bull poop. Like, it sucks. It sucks, you know? It's sad. So, do I agree with the score? If you have a brain, and if you've seen this episode, and you've seen all the other past seasons of Invincible, and even read the comics, you will know that this score is mildly wrong. I know it's opinion, but your opinion, IGN, is completely wrong. It's bogus. You shouldn't be reviewing crap like this anymore. I hope journalism dies with you, right? I hope journalism and anything that is just like you, IGN, who reviews crap, does rage bait, uses AI, doesn't give a crap about what they're doing. Like, I really hope that IGN dies, right? And the only people, if I ever want to get a review on something, it will be YouTubers, and YouTubers who know what they're talking about, and people who actually watch the series rather than just, I don't know what you did here, use AI or something, ChatGPT. Have fun, don't be mean, feel free to criticize ideas. Okay, wow, you feel free to criticize ideas, not people. They should be criticizing. Alright, let's read some comments. Very interested. I'm not into cartoons, but the 4 intrigued me, so I checked out the biggest user analytical site around. Hopefully it won't be anymore, and it's a 9.9. That's a stuck difference to this 4. Okay. IGN reviewers, is there like a... See, okay, there is. Oh god, this guy wrote a whole paragraph. IGN reviewers are either watching content on their phone for reviews, or maybe a TV with no speakers, or collectively they just had bad taste because that episode was epic. Yes, no, not the best ever, of course. The season 1 finale had way more emotional stakes. I kind of agree with that. But again, this episode has a very close second to the season 1 finale. But you also knew Omni-Man wasn't going to kill Monk. This was a massive fight, brutal, bombastic, base heavy, knowing Cookman is going to kill and permanently injure characters. The stakes were raised and the execution was amazing. F IGN's tail reviews, and for anyone who says it's just one person's opinion, no. A bad score from a popular site can mean less views, less budget, and canceled shows. But that's the thing I really hate about this. Again, if IGN didn't, again, this is a popular site. If IGN was a small site, everybody would be pooping on this guy, right? And I wouldn't really care. Like, oh, it's IGN, they probably have bad taste. But no, IGN is something like, well, if they give it a bad score, it can really impact shows, and it can kill shows, right? So that's what scares me. So if they give that a 4, I really hope Cookman doesn't cancel this show. And that's the big problem with this. That's the big problem. Everybody who watches this or plays games or does whatever, who likes it a lot, likes it. But if IGN gives it a bad score, or any like big mainstream journalism thing a bad score, that can really impact what's happening, right? So that's like one of the big reasons why I just don't want journalism like this to happen anymore. It can kill it. And literally, everybody agrees that it's a good finale, except for IGN, and that sucks because again, they're way more popular than like the majority of people who actually like it, which sucks. Before I knew IGN reviews were so often written by freelance hacks, I saw a very bad 410 review of something I thought might be good, so I was bummed and lost interest. Then a little later, I noticed the average review score was much, much higher because they actually had brains. So I watched it myself and loved it. IGN was the outlier because they don't know what they're talking about. That's a good point. Case in point, giving him lengthy monologues this late into the season and so after his writer feels entirely pointless. At no point does I don't know what that means. I think that's the reviewer. Mention the giant shoulder shrug of a character. Conquest is voiced by Jeffrey Dean Morgan, who's played Negan on The Walking Dead. I'm not even a huge fan, but the scene with Negan and Glenn, again, that was cool. Any decent popcorn? Yeah, that's cool because Glenn actually won this time. Because, freaking Negan was out there looking at Glenn and freaking beating him to death, but Glenn actually came back with this one. It was a cool little, like, if you've seen The Walking Dead, you should probably know that's pretty cool. I agree with this. Like, the way that he reviewed this is way more better than what I just read. The whole essay that IGN made was suck. But this, literally, one paragraph review, plus this, is already a way better review that you can tell that they actually watched the series rather than IGN, doing this, which is sad. It honestly is sad. These are the people who should be controlling the industry. Not them, but like people who actually watch the series, people who actually love the series, and people who, actually have brains and common sense and actually watches it, should be reviewing. If a series or a movie was bad, these people should say, this was a bad movie, it sucks. IGN shouldn't be saying it's good or whatever, or if it's a good series. These are the people who should watch it, Take for example, let's say if you wanna review a game. For example, Red Dead Redemption 2. Who would you want to hear a review from? Someone who played that game for an hour who never got past the snow part? Or someone like me who played until the end, who done all the side quests and maybe even 100% completed the game, who 100% completed the game, who would you rather hear a review from? Most likely me, right? You don't want to hear a review from, the person who played for about 1 hour because they won't have a good enough review compared to someone who completed the game and also did some side missions and maybe even 100% the game, right? So it all comes down to that, which is why, not a lot of people like journalism anymore. Let's see here. This episode is highly regarded overall what happened at IGN because IGN sucks. They don't know what they're talking about. They only do wage bait, and it's kind of sad that they control the industry. This review completely misses the mark. No pun. I like that. I did say that. Okay, so she deconstructs it. Let's see. Conquest in the comics has shown suddenly expands marks in Earth's world in the most violent way. So far, the Virtual Might threat was Nolan and his alternate marks. Yes, Anissa did warn someone worse than me will come. Conquest survival is not gracious; it's part of a larger reality. Suddenly, Cecil mark Earth. Everyone has to realize that not knowing something does not mean it does not exist. And it's true for the audience. All the morality system, life building, alliances, friends, none of that matter after Conquest arrives and foreshadows the arrival of the virtual empire. It's a masterpiece in my view. Every blow shows how war systematically destroys not just bodies and lives, but also the values of survivors. The review, I'm afraid, missed it and is reviewing the episode for what he thinks it should be, not for what it's trying to achieve. The poor grade is his failure to comprehend. Yes, I completely agree with Julian right here. Maybe not a great episode. Again, more like 7-ish. My gripe was animation, of course, animation. So some transition shots were missing, which would make the episode way longer, maybe. The audio team though did a fantastic. Yeah, the audio in Invincible is really, really good. I really like it a lot. They do superb audio. I like it. Like if you take for example, Hold on, I'm catching my breath because I've been talking and I can't talk because I'm a fat man. So, hold on, give me a second. When Mark does something heroic, right? There was heroic music that plays, right? So when he was like saving someone or fighting, to protect someone, heroic music plays, right? When he does something weird, take for example when he was there when Cecil initiated the robots on him, right? And he beat the crap out of them, and all of the Guardians of the Globe and Cecil was watching him basically just beating the crap out of his robots. No music was played, which shows like a big like contrast between his like heroic deeds and also like the scale factor of what virtual mites are supposed to be intruded, right? So it's cool. I like that. Also, audio design is amazing. I like it. Like it's loud. It's every time they hit something, it makes that noise, and it's so good. Like it's good. So it's cool. I know. To me, this sounds like the opinion of someone who has to watch and review the show because it's the job. Yes, this is the reason. If reviews should come from someone who wants to watch it rather than someone who has to watch it. This right here is the most correct statement, and also why IGN should not do reviews anymore, because I can't think of another reason why someone who isn't a fan of the show in the comics wouldn't like this episode. It's one of the best. Yes, it's good. And that's sad, because again, if IGN wasn't what it was, very popular, who is literally on every single like freaking movie where you see like reviews on, because IGN is that review website, and I really wish that people who actually want to watch it rather than people who have to watch it can control like what the industry does, like cancel a show, keep the show going and all that, because the closest that we got to like the popular, like the public to like cancel something, from what I know, there's probably other things that it does, but from what I know, is the Conco situation. Nobody played it because it was bad, and all the people who were playing it was IGN, right? And they gave it a 7 for some unknown reason, right? But it got canceled because nobody watched it or played it, right? So reviews should come from someone who wants to watch it and has a passion to watch it, and obviously if it sucks they'll say it sucks, and if it's good they'll say it's good. But I don't want a review to come from someone who's forced to watch something, because that doesn't make any sense. He wouldn't want to watch it, or she wouldn't want to watch it, because it's their job. Why would I want to watch a review from someone who's like that? It's kind of stupid, right? And again, I keep repeating myself. I know I sound like a broken record, but this wouldn't be a big deal if IGN wasn't a main popular like review website that has basically abilities to control what content gets out there in the public. That's the sad thing about this, and that right there has to stop. It has to stop, because they don't know what they're doing. They don't know how to review crap, because they're forcing people to watch it that don't want to watch it at all, and they only care about certain things. They make politics get into the way. Like it's crazy. It has to stop. There's a bunch of YouTube videos out there that talk about the bad things about gaming journalism. There was one YouTuber in particular, his name is Legendary Drops. He made a very good gaming journalism like thing where it should stop and why it should fail. Definitely watch that one. But yeah, there it is. I mean, do I agree with this? No. Does it really seem like he didn't watch it at all and he was forced to watch it, or he just put it into AI? Yeah. It sucks. It sucks. It does. But I love this episode though. I was hyped. I made a review about it. Oh, you just watch that instead. Pretty sad, right? And it's sad. I really hope, IGN, man. IGN is known for this. Like, they like giving things that suck a good score, that a lot of people just like hate. They give it a high score, and a lot of things that people like, they give it a low score. I don't know if that's rage bait. I don't know if that's like they're trying to do something with that. I don't know why they do that. But the fact that they control, or they have a say, or like a more like, I don't know how you're gonna say it, but the fact that they have more of a, I don't know how to say it. It's like Yeah, I think you understand what I'm saying. Like, if they have more of a say into the industry rather than the people who actually want to watch it. Like, I feel like the popular public should tell like the higher ups of the people who make the shows or movies or games like if they should continue making it or not, because again they're making things for us, right? So we should have a say into it. They shouldn't be getting things from IGN who are forced to like watch it. I don't know how to say it, but I think you understand what I'm trying to say. But wow, this was sad. This is sad. Again, this is literally the reason why I will never watch a review from a mainstream article. IGN, Polygraph, or whatever the other ones are called. Like, I'm only watching reviews from people who actually watched or play it, or like small YouTubers. Like for example, the Moist Meter. That's a good one to watch. I don't know. It's interesting. It's interesting. I hated it. IGN never made things again. That's all I'm saying. Thanks for watching.